Well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting for December 14th. It's lovely to see such a huge gathering. This must mean we're very popular or something tonight. At any rate, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Corporate Officer, we're looking at adopting the minutes from November 23rd.
Correct.
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes, please? Councillor Peak, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Barkwell. So the recommendation is to be as listed. And all in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. So we'll move ahead. Corporate Officer, do we have any late items?
We have two slight amendments to this evening's agenda. Item 12.3, the paddleboard business at Peach Orchard Beach. There is a revised map. And for item 11.4, there's a revised report which the Director of Finance will speak to.
Thank you. In the agenda, we have a revised report as there was a meeting that took place with the property owner on Friday last week. And in that meeting, two of the items were resolved. So the report's been revised to bring forward only the one outstanding item that requires a council decision.
Very good. So can I have a resolution to adopt the agenda as revised or adjusted, please? Councillor Holmes? Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Motion's carried. So we move ahead to, have any delegations? No. Right? No delegations, so we move to 6.0. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on any item on the agenda that is highlighted in yellow. So if anybody has anything on either 10.1, 10.2, or any of the others that are listed down the agenda, please come forward.
Where do we get the agenda?
There should be a whole stack of them out there. Are there none out there?
No, there's none there.
In print form.
Oh, did people got them then? Yeah. So we must have run out, sir.
Pardon me?
I think we ran out considering the numbers.
So perhaps we could just itemize
Yep.
the
Go ahead.
corporate officer or deputy corporate officer, which items are not available.
Certainly the items not available would be 11.1, which is the development variance permit application for 5492 Solly Road. There will be an opportunity for comment later on in the evening for that, as well as 11.2, the development variance permit application for 14806 Biagioni Avenue. There's also an opportunity for public comment later on in the evening for that. And that is it.
Okay, so all the rest have an opportunity for comment now. So anybody wishes to come forward on any of the other items that weren't mentioned just now by the corporate officer or deputy corporate officer, please do so. So we allotted 15 minutes for this section. If there's no desire to ask any questions or make any comment, we'll just move ahead. Looks like that's the state. So we will move into my report. The last 3 weeks have been active with regional district budget and strategic planning meetings, council strategic planning, and an Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting that both Councillor Boot, who can't be here this evening, and myself attend those RDOS meetings, and I attend the Water Board meeting. On another issue, I and several councillors attended the 2 local school district information meetings regarding the issue of potential school closures in the district. The school board has had a very difficult task facing declining enrollment and escalating costs. But the suggestion of closing Giants Head Elementary and creating 2 K-7 schools will leave the district with virtually no growth options for the K-7 demographic and hence little option for growth including families. This is of particular concern as we have seen a dramatic surge in building permits over the last year. That's gone from at least till the end of November, from 126 a year ago to 192 this year. And during that interim period, council has set in action a number of things, set a number of actions in motion that may very well see this upward trend in building permits continue. So despite, the recession had some impact on us as a municipality, we may be generally moving out of that, but also there's been quite a bit of activity, not just in renovations, but in whole houses coming on stream through that we noticed through the building permits. On November 26th, the reality of a skate park became one step closer. New Line Skate Parks participated in an information session at the Arena Banquet Room. A great contingent of youth was present to give voice to their preferences, and everybody's excited to see this project moving forward. It was kind of neat watching the youth go through the option boards. There's lots of pictures there, and they had an opportunity to indicate which of the aspects of the skateboard that they would prefer. They went from sort of a flat surface that somebody like me might try, and then they were everything from rails to whatever it is. And so they had some very interesting aspects of that skate park that they were able to try and put forward that the designers might include. December 2nd, a Syrian refugee workshop was held. The issue is a massive human tragedy, and I'm very pleased that Councillor Holmes is assisting the sponsorship group. Our assistance and support will be dealt with in a resolution coming to Council a little bit later on our agenda. I will leave the topic to Councillor Holmes for further detail in his councillor report. On Tuesday, I had the pleasure of addressing the Rotary Breakfast. It's their breakfast meeting on Tuesday mornings to present an update of council activities over the past year. The presentation was well received by the group, and I intended to actually address more community groups in the near future as the opportunities arise in the new year. And that's my report. So moving ahead, CAO, do you have anything for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of items to update the community on. Just mention of the open houses that were held this past week about water, the irrigator rate for metered water consumption, and also the issue of a second service to a domestic house or those properties that have a second service. So we had good attendance at both of those open houses that were held on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, and we're working our way through the questionnaires that were provided to us by the community, and we'll have further information in January. And I just also too wanted to make note to everyone of the holiday closures in the district. So we will be closing on December the 24th at 2 p.m. and resuming operations on January the 4th. There are staff on site working over that holiday period, so if there are any emergencies, you can contact the district at the Works Department.
Okay, thank you. So we're on to 10.1, correspondence. Number of information items there. Any of council members like to bring anything up?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
thank you
Laurie.
very kindly. On page 35, Summerland Singers and Players, I just wanted to make mention of this, that they're looking for some relief with a rehearsal space, and I want to make make the staff aware that they need to have some response prior to March, because they're going to have 6 weeks of rehearsal space, so or time, so that the sooner they know whether it's possible and where they can go to do that, it will be important. They did previously do rehearsals in the Presbyterian Church, but now that it's up for sale, that's not a possibility for them. I also would like to make mention of the Ministry of Agriculture letter to you yourself, the mayor, and council, and that they will not be funding feasibility studies, which is something that we were certainly hopeful for. And it is nice to see on local government service program, page 16, we have approval of a fuel management prescription, which is a good help for us. It's not a great deal of money. I make note of the government that they're going to help us with 75% of it, but we won't receive it till after we've done the work for the program, which I always get a chuckle at. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those are the ones I wish to highlight.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I won't add any comment to that either. Okay, anybody else? Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a few questions on the informational items from staff, and one item that isn't on the on the list. I wonder if we could get an update on the use of the library, the old library building. We were trying to get somebody at least using it temporarily as soon as possible. Do you know where we are with that?
I don't have any current information on that.
I can say a little bit.
Yeah,
The recreation department is currently booking the upstairs for some activities, and investigations are ongoing regarding long-term use of it. But it isn't lying completely dormant right now.
Okay.
So maybe you have a question, is the roof work proceeding, or is it being done, or,
I don't know, actually. I'll ask Martin and let you know.
okay.
Martin is here.
They're gonna start within the next couple of days is the plan.
Oh, to get the roof done?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And a couple other things I'm wondering about. A note that there is a negotiated agreement with the schools that was concluded in November. And is that going to address our problems with using or not being able to use the gym at the middle school?
I can speak to that as well. The joint use agreement does still give the principal primary decision-making power on that. And last we've heard is that no, there will not be use allowed,
Okay.
regardless of the joint use agreement.
And Mr. Mayor, one last question, which I think was probably directed to Director of Corporate Services. We've been talking a long time about online registration for our recreational groups. Where does that stand? What's the particular holdup right now?
Last I've heard, the recreation department is waiting for progress at another recreation department who's currently going through the upgrade process to our desired system. So they want to see how that goes before making that commitment.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. Councillor Holmes?
Just follow up on a couple of things that have been mentioned. The joint use agreement, is that the discretion of the principal at just the middle school or all the schools?
Each principal at each school has final say.
I'll be curious to see this joint use agreement because I wonder what's the point of having one then. If it's the discretion's up to the principals.
Yeah.
How do we get what's the joint use?
That's a good point. Well, we will have opportunities to meet with the school district at various times, so we can bring that up. Go ahead.
I'd also like to pull the letter from the singers and players. It looks like they're asking us for a decision. I just wonder what is the process here?
What number is that?
Number.
So, I can speak to that. So the grant and aid is part of the budget process
right,
for
I've
the
got it.
2016 year. So the comment that they would like a decision by March would mean that we'll have to advance that item in the budget discussions. So I've made note of that we'll have to bring that forward in the schedule so that it's addressed before council by that deadline.
March.
Yeah, their rehearsal time is in April.
No, their
Performances.
performance is in
performances in
April, so they
April?
want 6 weeks in advance of the performance date,
Right.
which is why I brought it up.
Right. So,
Which is February.
right, so we had put it into the 16 budget discussions, grant and aid process. Certainly, we could bring it to the first meeting in January for a decision on that item.
Well, that's the reason I brought it up as well. The sooner the better, so they would know what they were doing.
Yeah, I think that would be our intent, to not inconvenience them in any way and try and give them information that's suitable for their own scheduling. Councillor Barkle?
Yeah, further to that, when I wasn't real clear when I read that letter, they were just looking to have the fees waived for the rental, weren't they? Does that impact our grant and aid budget? Or
Yes,
is
it does. That's
yeah?
still any type of activity where you're using a district facility and that we're foregoing a revenue is the same as giving someone a cash grant and aid.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a journal entry there for
Yes,
that, yeah?
that's right.
Okay.
Any other item? Okay. Can we have a motion to receive then, please? Someone bring that forward. Councillor Barkle?
I move that we receive
Sure.
the informational and correspondence.
Okay, thank you. Seconded, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. All in favor? None opposed, motion's carried. Thank you very much. Moving forward to 10.2, to committee commission minutes. Anything there, Code Officer? Other than just bringing?
There's just 2 sets of
Just
minutes for
receipt.
receipt.
Okay, is there anybody looked at those to see if there's any adjustments required? I think there's just a matter of receiving, correct? Yeah. Okay, have a motion to receive, please. Councillor Peak, thank you.
I will make that motion.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. Guess we've got to get ourselves together. Passed, thank you very much. And then opposed. Okay, Development Services, 11.1. CAO, we'll refer that to Tony.
Yeah, to Director of Development Services.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First application tonight in the Development Services section is a development variance permit at 5492 Solly Road. And that property is on the east side of Solly Road in the Lower Town neighborhood, north of the intersection of Solly Road and Lakeshore Drive. And the property was in receipt of a development variance permit earlier in the year to allow a carriage house in the front yard of the property, which is not permitted in the zoning bylaw. That variance was issued in April. The building permit has been received, and the carriage house is under construction. You can see on the screen there. And now the owners wish to increase the size of the carriage house from the 60 square meters that is permitted in the zoning bylaw to approximately 80 square meters. And you can see there they're wishing to move the wall out 7.5 feet over the covered deck and take the internal stairs, which are not considered as part of the floor area, and move them to the outside of the structure. So this is now what they're proposing. So they've added some more floor space here by moving the wall onto the deck on the lakeside, and they've moved the internal stairs outside. So that's the application. And staff are recommending that the variance not be supported, as there's no particular reason that the regulations can't be satisfied in this particular case.
Thank you. We do have an opportunity for public comment on this one. The owner like to come forward?
Yeah.
Just go to the mic, please, and give us your name and address for the record.
Trevor Voshell, 5492 Sully Road. And I think the biggest thing was we were trying to eliminate some stairs for my parents who were going to live in there. So we went from 16 stairs to approximately 7, 8. And to give them the extra room in the front room, because they're basically going to live there the better part of the rest of their lives. So we live in the house, they live in the coach home. So that's basically the reason why.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, council, any questions of staff, please? So we've had the explanation. Councillor Barkle?
We had a letter opposing this application based on impacting views and stuff, but would this change, it doesn't increase the roof area or anything and wouldn't really impact the views, would it?
No, it doesn't increase the roof area, and it is on the lakeside. It doesn't increase the height, so once the building structure's there, the impact on the view for this additional piece would be negligible, would be my guess.
Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Peak.
So the change in the stairs, so that, would that eliminate the stairs on the outside?
No, the stairs, you still have to get from the ground up to the second floor, so the stairs would be the same lift and elevation. They're just, instead of 2 flights, I guess, there's still 2 flights, so there's, the stairs, I believe the elevation change is the same, so they're just on the outside of the building rather than on the inside.
What's the stuff on the right, on the left rather, in the front entrance?
In here?
Yeah.
Those are stairs that go up here. You go up the stairs and into the structure, as opposed to before. Let me just see if I can go. Before, you went into the garage and then up the stairs inside the building. So the only difference now is the stairs, instead of being inside, that you access from inside the bottom floor, they're now on the outside.
It's actually lower. We're only like 4 feet up from the ground. That basement there, those bottom set of stairs are actually inside the basement. So it's only 4 feet up the stairs are coming, 4 to 5 feet up. That's all we're coming up now. So we're eliminating, I know we're showing steps there, but those steps actually enter the garage area. The lower stairs, it's the stairs on the side are the 5 or 7 stairs that they're gonna actually have to climb, right? And they're already 70 years old. So we're trying to eliminate half those stairs because we've got a long ways to go here. So having the stairs on the inside, you have double the stairs they have to climb until they're 80, 85, right? So that's why we opted to change it. Since we were going for a second variance, we looked at opting for a little more space upstairs for them as well. And that's where it all started. The stairs is what started it.
Councillor Trainer.
So the footprint is not really changing that much, like in terms of the bigger area, it looks like they're just going out onto the deck?
That's
more?
correct.
Okay.
It does appear if you go, the building, we don't have a section, but the first variance application showed the building sunk into the ground. So if you do go into the basement, you would come up a full flight of stairs. If these stairs are outside the building on the grade, which is higher than when the building is set in, it's quite conceivable that there would be less stairs going outside than there would be if you went in and then up the stairs. Because the building is sunk into the ground on the west side of the structure.
Councillor Holmes, do you have a comment? Councillor Peak?
So is staff objections on both the changes, or is there one in particular that?
No, staff's objection is simply because the regulations say 60 square meters, which is, and generally speaking, variances, if there's some unusual circumstance, there's a siting issue or some other anomaly that would warrant a variance. Generally, if there's no such thing, staff simply, if there's a reason if the regulation can be met, then staff doesn't support a variance.
Councillor.
So but the stairs, the change in the stairs wouldn't change?
Technically, the stairs are not included in floor area, so if you put the stairs inside, you get free space, essentially. If you move the stairs outside, they are counted as, well, they aren't counted as floor space either, but you've now increased the floor space by this amount on the inside.
By the stairs, yeah.
So it's a technical, it wasn't floor space before as it was stairs, now it is floor space being part of the den. And then they've added some over here as well, so together it increases the floor space by 20 square meters.
I guess just before I let Councillor Peak move ahead, and then Councillor Barkwell, essentially there's, I see it sort of two issues, and I can see the mobility thing with respect to stairs is a factor in terms of numbers of stairs going up, and you pick up a little bit of space as the planner just indicated, but the overall enlargement goes well beyond, almost 30% without that little piece for the stairs, over and above our parameters for coach houses or carriage houses, and we went with that for the reasons that were originally put in place, that they would be of a certain size, not just an additional house on the property. So I'm just thinking that we'll see what the additional councillors have to say, but I'm looking at potentially referring this back to staff, because I go with the idea, I can consider the idea of the stair issue because I believe age and accessibility and mobility are certainly an issue over time, and that is something that would be a ever so slight modification, whereas the rest of it is a considerable increase in the overall area. Councillor Peak.
Yes, the area that, it's essentially sort of a bit of a trade-off, and the area of extension onto the deck creates no greater interference for the neighbors in terms of view or obstruction. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Potentially as a variance, we've had one on the other of these, and I think that as we move forward as a council and as applications come to us, there may be an opportunity for us to review the size of carriage houses in general, to the usage and to the properties, and do some adjustments as we go into the future. I don't personally have a problem with the adjustment on the sizing, as the fact that it does not impact the views and the area that's already covered by this. I did attend on the property and have a look.
Councillor Barkle?
Yes, further to what Councillor Peak said, we had a similar application at Crescent Beach earlier this year. It was on a half-acre lot, and they requested, I think, a 28% increase in the size. And at that time, our Director of Planning gave us some information on carriage house sizes in other communities, and our standards were much lower than other communities. And we approved that one, and also requested that this standard be reviewed by staff and presented exactly what Councillor Peak has said again, that we should be considering a larger size similar to what other communities have. And I think that approving this one would be entirely consistent with the previous approval and our intentions.
Yeah, well, I think that's why precedents begat even further precedents. But,
There's no precedence in planning.
pardon me?
I do not believe there's precedence in planning.
I don't understand. You don't believe there's precedents?
Each decision is standalone. There's no precedence in planning. You may make reference to it, but there's actually no precedence.
Oh, well, okay.
But
Technically, you're
I make
correct.
reference to it as to remind council of what our intentions were at the time.
Okay, what was the rationale for the original sizing of our carriage houses, Mr. Planner?
The theory was that it would be the same size as a typical double-car garage, so that somebody could construct a second floor on a double-car garage, and that would be the size of the carriage house.
I see.
And they are allowed in every sewered lot in Summerland, some of which are quite small. So there was some talk of looking at a graduated size, depending on the size of the lot. Maybe you could have a bigger carriage house, and that is on our to-do list, but we haven't got to it as yet.
So we can easily be faced with moving the standards up to being larger, and then we'll be faced with ongoing variances to make them yet larger again, correct? And Councillor Holmes, thank you.
Was there also a variance on the setback on this property?
I don't recall the setback. I believe it meets the bylaw. There was a variance to allow it in the front yard at all, because the bylaw requires accessory structures to be in the rear yard. So in this case, it is in the front yard, but I don't recall the variance to the front.
Because it is right basically on the road, which is, you would think, not our setback.
We can double check that, but the setbacks are, they look very small in the field. It should be 6 meters from the property line, and it may well be, it just looks like it's right on the road, but we can double check that.
Okay, everybody had ample questions for the planner? Somebody like to bring a recommendation forward, please, or motion forward? Councillor Peak.
That a development variance permit application to vary section 7.1.4 C of zoning bylaw 2000-450 to increase the gross floor area of a carriage house from 600 square meter to 79 square meter for lot B DL 455 ODYD plan KAP 51373 be permitted.
Thank you. That was 60, not 600, correct? Yeah.
660 square meters, correct.
Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Barkwell. Okay, any further discussion by council? I think Councillor Holmes.
I think, again, in the interest of densification and infill and everything, it's and again, looking at it at its, as Councillor Traynor said, it's the existing same, we're not extending the footprint that's already there. I'd vote in favor. So.
We'll call for the vote in a minute. Okay, any further comments or discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion as presented by Councillor Peak? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you, Council. So we'll move forward to 11.2, Biagioni Avenue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is another development variance permit for the property at 14806 Biagioni Avenue. And this site is located on the west side of Biagioni Avenue at the intersection with Fosbury Road. And the property was rezoned in 2012 to institutional to accommodate the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. Landscape security was provided at the time of rezoning to guarantee landscape construction. And a variance permit was issued once in 2012 and again in 2015 to waive the requirement to connect the site or the development to the sanitary sewer. We now have a building permit application that has been applied for, and the building permit triggers the requirement for curb gutter sidewalk along Biagioni Avenue, as you can see here. The property, or there's two measures of what the road requirements are in our subdivision development bylaw. One is the road network. And in this particular case, Biagioni Avenue is a local road on that network plan. And because of the institutional zoning, it is deemed to be constructed at a urban standard rather than a rural standard. And the urban standard requires curb and gutter. And there's also a requirement in our subdivision development bylaw that where the road provides access to educational facilities, health institutions, or religious institutions, among other things, that a sidewalk is required as well. So in this particular case, because of the zoning and the use of the property, the subdivision development bylaw requires curb, gutter, and sidewalk. In this particular case, staff are not recommending the construction of the curb or the gutter or the sidewalk because it is an isolated piece of roadway, and with those works in place, there would be drainage concerns as well, and it would be an isolated piece that doesn't really connect to any fabric of sidewalk anywhere else in the neighborhood. It is a rural road with most properties. As soon as you get and turn right on Fosbury, most of those properties are in the agricultural land reserve, so there's very limited opportunity for any further development out that way. However, the bylaw also requires reconstruction, or requires that the pavement be brought to a rural standard. So in this particular case, staff are recommending that the curb, gutter, and sidewalk provisions be waived. However, staff are suggesting that the road reconstruction, the asphalt surface, should still be a requirement of the building permit to increase the quality of the road in that location. There are a couple of issues here. One of them is that there is a hydrant, you can see at the top of the screen there, that is actually in a trespass situation that is located on the Kingdom Hall property. So if a variance, any sort of variance were to be issued, staff are recommending that a condition of that variance be that there be a corner truncation here, a piece of road dedicated to the district to remove the trespass of the fire hydrant. If in fact there is no variance issued at all, then you can see that the road would either have to be redesigned, or a piece of this property would have to be acquired to accommodate the curb return and the road reconstruction in this corner that would be otherwise on private land. So just in closing, staff are recommending a variance be issued for the curb, gutter, and sidewalk, conditional upon an 8 meter by 8 meter corner truncation to remove the hydrant trespass. Thank you. Oh, I should note that there is some photos of the road here to help with council's understanding of the situation. The Kingdom Hall would be located on the right. This is Biagioni looking south. And this is on the west side of the road. Now this is the Kingdom Hall property, so we're looking north. This is the half of the road that is being asked for reconstruction. Another property fronting Biagioni Avenue there. And this is the piece of road. This is Fosbury Road looking toward the Kingdom Hall site would be in this location. So this is looking west toward the site. Thank you.
Okay, questions of the planner, please? Actually, there's opportunity for some public comment here. So if anybody from the audience would like to speak, please go ahead. Your name, sir?
My name is Scott Dixon. I live at 19081 74th Ave in Surrey, BC. So I think on behalf of our local congregation members and the volunteer management, construction management team that I represent, Mr. Mayor, the council, we'd like to thank you very much for the support that you folks have provided to us over the last number of years in connection with our acquisition and development of this property. It's been very much appreciated. Even as of this last discussions, city staff has been very helpful to us. As far as our request to have the requirements varied, on a number of points, as mentioned on the sidewalk and curb and gutter requirement. Again, that orphan piece of sidewalk would certainly stick out. It wouldn't be required for our members. They would not require the use of the sidewalk, how the property is utilized. As far as for the resurfacing of the road, as we can see from some of those pictures, Mr. McIntosh, I don't know if you've got another one there.
We have some more. This is again the ones we've just looked at. And there's a few that show the other roads in the area.
Yeah. So our submission would be that this section of Biagioni is in similar condition to other roads that are in the area, Peach Orchard, the rest of Biagioni, the other roads. So as we would submit that it's in good shape enough that would certainly handle the needs of the area. Especially being part of the wine tour in that area, we would submit that a big black patch of asphalt would certainly stand out in that rural feel as people make their way along. It may even cause some to wonder, these witnesses must have a ton of money. They look at that, they can pave the road right out in front of their place, which, as we've mentioned before, the whole property and its construction is all handled by voluntary contributions. So, as far as the traffic impact, we've done some recent statistical analysis over the last week or so, and based on the number of vehicles that the local congregation would be using, we've estimated that we would be impacting the traffic on that road by about 2.97% in increase. And that's at this time of the year. Probably as we get into the busier season in the summer, we would be down probably 2.5% of traffic increase because of that. Lastly, part of the challenge that we have as a local organization in funding this is the challenge that we have is with the enacting of this requirement, and we're a bond to be put forward to as part of this requirement. The challenge that it has for us as an organization, that now changes the status, the level to which this building is viewed, and of course that would impact such our budgeting that it would even call into question whether the property would even continue to be developed because of where this would push that in an approval process. So we would very much appreciate the variance for the sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and the road be varied for us. We'd very much appreciate that as community members here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions of our planner by our council, please, council members? Councillor Peak.
Ian, could you show me again the part of the road that we're looking for resurfacing? I'm a little bit mixed up as to which.
On this particular photo, it would be from the southern extremity of the site, which is in here, approximately up to the northern extremity of the site. So it'll be this chunk of asphalt. And if we back up here a little bit more, I'm going the wrong way here, just one moment. It is this portion shown in white here, minus the curb and gutter and sidewalk. So it would be that half of Biagioni Avenue across the property frontage is the piece of road construction that staff is recommending.
Really a very short area.
Yeah, it's about 80 meters long, I believe.
Yeah, I did go and travel, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm looking at the right piece of road.
Any other council members? Councillor Barclay?
Yes, in our agenda, there's a recommendation on the previous variance, but what was staff's recommendation on this one?
Staff's recommendation on this one is that the curb, gutter, and sidewalk be waived, subject to the 8 by 8 meter corner truncation to remove the hydrant trespass, but that and that the road be constructed to a rural standard rather than an urban standard.
Okay.
So I have a question for you. Yeah, the only requirement to go urban is because it's an institution, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so essentially though, the road that we just saw pictured is the rural standard of road in the community?
It's close to the rural standard. The pavement width, if we were to build a brand-new rural road, it would look a little bit wider than that and a little bit different, but it's
Okay.
much closer.
So this going to urban standard, though, makes that particular piece of pavement that's 80 meters long wider to bring it to urban standard, correct?
It does make it, yes, that's correct, along with curb and gutter. The urban standard
Okay, even
requires.
without the curb and gutter, though, if we were to go with the pavement piece, it would make the pavement wider than it is right now, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so if you're driving along Biagioni towards the church property, you'll have one width of road, and then all of a sudden you've got 80 meters of road that's wider, constructed to urban standard as opposed to rural, correct?
Slightly wider, yes, it would be
Like
flared, but yes.
Slightly, how much is slightly?
I'm not exactly sure what's out there at the moment.
Is it an additional 3 feet or 6 feet?
I'd say would be in 1.5 meters, kind of, is my guess. We don't have drawings of that yet, so we don't know exactly how much wider it
So
would be.
does that involve re-and-reing the subsurface of the road to a depth of new construction to bring it to urban standards of under material and et cetera, et cetera?
It may, again, without investigation and digging up the road and without engineered drawings, we don't know what the subsurface is like. If it is fine, then it would just be a matter of paving over top. If it's not fine, it would have to be reconstructed with new road base.
Yeah, I personally can't see the rest of the road ever being done to an urban standard, which would make this particular suggestion of going to urban standard for 80 meters of road look inconsistent at best. Councillor Trainer?
Our staff was suggesting that it go to a rural standard, not urban,
No,
right?
urban.
Staff are recommending that a variance be issued to waive the sidewalk and require construction of that chunk of road to a rural
Yeah,
standard.
okay.
So there would still be, if council chose our recommendation, there would still be some new pavement
Mhm.
and possibly some road base constructed to a rural standard along that piece of frontage, as opposed to leaving it the way it is today.
Do you have a cost estimate for what
No.
it would be for, no?
We have done work actually on that, and it would be $40,000 is the estimate of the road works without any curb, gutter, or sidewalk, and $70,000 if the curb and gutter and sidewalk and road was constructed.
Okay, Councillor Peak, I think, and then Councillor Holmes.
Yes, is there any, has there been any contemplation by our public works staff to do any work on this road, either prior to the applicants coming forward with their building, or during the time? Like, did we have plans in our works to do any work on this road prior to this?
No, we have not.
Thank you.
Councillor Holmes.
So when developers come to you and, you know, it's understood that the sidewalk, curb, and gutter are part of the deal, I mean, that's...
I would say, depending on the sophistication of the developer, some that have been developing a lot of buildings in a lot of places would expect that. Some developers only focus on what is on their site, and they lose sight sometimes of what is off the site, and until we make them aware, I suspect nobody would have anticipated they would be building sidewalk in that location as a normal course of events.
So, I guess a few minutes ago, I was probably either led myself astray or was not clear that because there's no curb and gutter, the road is not done to an urban standard, it'll be done to a rural standard.
Yes,
Correct?
we
So
are.
how different will the road look when the road is supposedly all ready to a rural standard, the balance of the road, and now we're going to upgrade the piece in front to be a little bit wider, but it still will be designated a rural standard?
That is correct, and the reason, if I can find the photo here, if you can look on this photo, you can see that this pavement has what they call alligator cracking, and the road surface is starting to break up. So the thought is that this section of road would be repaved with potentially new road base if the base is insufficient, so that that would give us a new piece of rural road in that location.
So we wouldn't be seeing fit to deal with the alligator cracking on the other side of the yellow line because it's just as bad?
Probably not.
I see. And so the quality of this road versus many of our other rural roads in the community is worse, is it?
There are lots of roads in Summerland, I would say, that are in worse shape than that.
Right, exactly. Okay, Council, we want any further discussion? Councillor Holmes?
Councilor Barkwell, we met at the Petro-Canada station on Saturday and walked over it and looked at it. The thought of this being a rural road isn't the first thing that came to my mind. When I walked across there, you're walking on a sidewalk around Petro-Canada, you're crossing the highway, and then you get to this, non-sidewalk area. But then you're walking down this street, and my impression was this is a residential street. Well, maybe it leads to rural areas, but those are houses. That's a residential street, and my first thought is that there should be a sidewalk along here, but there should also be a sidewalk along the house. So it's not just by itself. We should then, I don't know what our sidewalk plan is. We haven't gotten that yet, but we should then continue that sidewalk all around the corner in front of the other houses there to hook up so you can cross the highway, to encourage these people to walk into town. Because it's not that far, it's just across the highway.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's not a rural road, this is a residential road.
Well, the demarcation is the highway, which is pretty obvious, because we've got lots of residential situations in town where there's certainly no sidewalk, and we've only recently seen fit to put a appropriate sidewalk in a safety issue on Prairie Valley Road for Giants Head School. So this will remain unorphaned, much like the piece on Bentley that somehow became a curb and gutter situation sidewalk a number of years ago, and I will be dead and gone before there's an additional sidewalk put in that area.
Well,
Councillor.
you might be, but my kids might not be. If you think, okay, if you're envisioning long term,
Yeah.
that you eventually want to have sidewalks in this town,
Mhm.
then you've got to start somewhere. You can't just keep giving variances all the time. And there is, when you do cross the highway, you say, that might be the zone as far as you're concerned, but there are walk and don't walk signs when you cross the highway. So, there is somebody thought that people might want to walk across the highway.
Okay. I think additional comment before we get to Councillor Barkwell is that if we proceed and don't go with the waiving of the sidewalk and require the construction, we simply won't have to worry about it because the folks won't be building the church in the first place. Councillor Barkwell.
Now I'm forgetting what my question. Oh yes, if this is for our Director of Planning, if that lot, which is a large lot, had been subdivided as residential lots, a sidewalk would have been required, wouldn't it?
No, actually, and I was going to mention that
Okay.
our local roads and residential roads currently in our subdivision and development bylaw do not require a sidewalk. So sidewalks are only required on one side of a collector road, such as Quinpool or Victoria. No local roads require a sidewalk unless this piece of bylaw that says unless they provide access to educational facilities, government facilities, parks, recreation sites, et cetera, then they require a sidewalk. And of course, that's a bit problematic as every road eventually leads to one of those facilities. But the thought being if it's directly down the street from Giants Head School or directly down the street from the mall, then a sidewalk would be required. But for most subdivisions on residential streets in our current bylaw, a sidewalk is not required.
So if we were, say, to subdivide the municipal lands, which we've talked about at the foot of Cartwright, in that subdivision, which might be 20 lots or whatever, sidewalks wouldn't be required?
That is correct. Leading up to that subdivision, that Cartwright is deemed as a collector road. That's why there's a sidewalk on it now. But once it turns and goes up into Heron and beyond there, unless it's deemed a collector road, which it isn't at the moment, there would be no sidewalks.
It's a tough one.
It's not that tough. Believe me, it's not that tough. Councillor Peak.
You know, our community is very rural in nature. It's rather pastoral in the way that you look at it. I see people walk this area of the road, and I see them, actually a lot of people on bicycle that come in and do various things downtown. I would prefer if it's at a rural standard, and that it seems very silly to require whoever the developer is to improve this particular area of the road when we're not doing the rest of the road. And
No,
I would
no.
I would rather see that if there is to be a requirement, that it be a requirement to contribute to the fund that would then allow for the road at the time that it is to be all done, or a good portion of it to be done, that is completed in its entirety. And then you create a much better base under both lanes of the road. So not that the developer do the work at this point in time, but that they make a cash deposit to the municipality, and it could be over time rather than right away, and perhaps that then makes it possible for them to keep their budgeting as it is in the beginning of their development, but that there's money comes towards what works needs to be done when it needs to be done.
Thank you. Councillor Barclay.
I was wondering if there isn't a bit of a compromise here, like on Prairie Valley Road, where you just paved it wider and painted a yellow line down the side and gave a little bit of space for people to walk without the expense of a curb and you know, sidewalk and concrete, and that's like half or a third of the cost. Is that a possibility?
Well, certainly that's a possibility. It would be probably be a variance, but it would be a possibility for sure.
And if I may, that's, and I didn't articulate it, but that would be exactly my vision on these kind of roads. And again, if the money could come in over time, if it's over the next 10 years, rather than immediately, that it gives an opportunity for congregation to work towards those funds, as opposed to having to do the work right now, and we're not ready to do our portion of it, but it comes in and then we can use it.
I think at this point, the planner maybe have a comment with regard to a potential letter of intent that may be available to us as an option.
I am not aware of that as yet.
Okay.
I can speak to that, Mr. Mayor. So, should council require the roadworks, we heard from the applicant that having to provide us with the bonding requirement would put their budget in jeopardy. So an option that they have presented to the district is that should council see fit to waive all of the required works, that they would provide to us a binding letter of intent, which would have the congregation completing those roadworks, you know, whatever items that council wishes to see there, as a condition of getting their approval. But it is it's a binding letter of intent. It doesn't require any financial security, so it would be the district accepting the congregation's intention that they would complete those works as requested.
I think too, though, CAO, if I might interject, that I still see the waiving of the sidewalk in this situation as being reasonable, but also perhaps raising the road standard and quality of the road might be something that would be considered over time as well, or as a point.
So the draft letter that we have here says that the owner would commit to having the roadworks completed on or before May 1st of 2017. So certainly...
That's what the letter of intent says?
Yes. Certainly a date that is not that far into the future.
I thought we'd have more of a chance to speak from the public. It kind of went from him to the...
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Actually,
Yeah.
nobody spoke
Sorry.
up, and I should have
Yeah.
asked again.
Sorry. So my name is Tony Giroux. I'm with the local Summerland congregation here. I do quite a bit of development as well in the area, so I understand exactly where the council's coming from wanting to get the road improved. The situation and the reality here is that this is our budget that we've been approved for to get this construction done, and this is where we're at. And even at the $40,000, it puts us over that cap. And I think Mr. Dixon mentioned it, that at that point, we have to go through a whole new budget process. And even though it seems like a small amount, the community of Summerland isn't a large enough community to hit that next target of budget. So we are trying our hardest to hit underneath that budget. Just from a development standpoint, having designed several of the wineries in the area, I know that wine route well. It's got a nice feel to it as you drive down it at the moment. It does feel like a nice wine rural route. To put a section of new pavement on there might be distracting to how terrible or how the rest of the road looks after you just start down this wine route. So I understand the point about maybe doing it all at once, and I believe that as a future project under a different budget, that's something that would be more realistic to consider. But we have to, the way our system works, put all of this development under this one single budget. So we're really pleading with the council to bend as much as you can to work with us, and we appreciate so much already how much you've bent, because we know that obviously you're community minded. So we're truly pleading with you to work with us on that. And we think that there's a good cause to put off the road, because at the moment it's not a terrible stretch of road. Like was mentioned, it matches a lot of the other standards in town, and at a future date maybe we could work with you in that improvement. I don't know if David had any further point that he wanted to add. There was just the three of us were going to speak. We've got quite a few of our members came, and quite a few more wanted to come, but we didn't want to overwhelm the chambers with everyone here tonight. So thank you.
So Mayor, members of council, members of district administration, my name is Dave Letwin. I'm a retired civil engineering technologist, have been that for most of my adult life. And I'd just like to speak about the variance to this bylaw with regard to its practicality. You know, the road surface drainage, if you put a curb and sidewalk, it'll channel it down to the lowest point in that particular road section. And then you have to deal with it in some way to manage the stormwater, either through catch basin, storm sewer, or dry well, or routing it over land. So based on that and the fact that staff is not recommending curb and gutter, you're left with the option of an orphan piece of fairly new sidewalk or new asphalt in an older portion of pavement. And I guess the question I have is that at some point in the future, you're going to have to resurface that road. And I don't know how much you're going to do, whether it's 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, or the whole thing, but you're going to end up doing that. And your contractor is going to look at this little chunk of 80 feet of asphalt and say, it's in my way. It's going to be more headache for me to work around it. I can't guarantee my asphalt and road structure near it because I don't know what's there. And so he's going to ask you and give you 101 reasons why he wants you to take that newer chunk of asphalt out, resurface the whole thing. You get a nice, clean look to the whole road. He'll be happy, the municipality be happy, and in the end of the day, what you've got, you haven't saved any money at all. And the congregation is basically seeing $50,000 of asphalt going down the road, being hauled away. So it may be a waste of funds to do the asphalt now. Thank you.
Point well made, sir. Any further discussion? Councillor Holmes.
So what's, can you, the letter of intent proposes what exactly?
Well, I think, I haven't read it right recently, but I think they're proposing to do some of the roadworks before 217, correct? And to what extent were they prepared to do everything?
So the letter is not in a final version yet, because of course we hadn't had the decision of council tonight, and there also hasn't been the provision of the drawings that the Director of Corporate Services, or the Director of Development Services referred to, the road standard. We haven't got those drawings, and there also hasn't been a site meeting to go out and assess the actual works that would need to be done by the manager of works. So there's a few things that are still outstanding. So the letter of intent, though, would cover whatever council determines tonight as being their wish for the off-site works. And it has been drafted with the intention of having those works completed on or before May 1st of 2017. So it is not a financial obligation in what we would normally see coming forward at this point in time with a construction of the building where we would require the works to be completed or for them to be bonded for. It doesn't have that same weight, yet it is most definitely a strong statement by the congregation that they want to work with the district to complete whatever works council deems as being necessary.
Councillor Holmes. And Councillor Trainer? Right.
Well, I'm leaning more to what the gentleman was talking about and Janet Peak was talking about. There's I don't see a whole lot of point in doing a bunch of road work right now. And if we could work on an agreement with the congregation where they pay into a fund, that can make a contribution to redoing the whole road at the same time at some point, rather than just, half the road to, a certain little strip of it. That makes more sense to me.
Councillor Trainer?
Yeah, I agree with the other councillors. I think that waiving the sidewalk is reasonable, especially until we have a sidewalk plan. The road work that needs to be done as well, I mean, obviously that road needs to be repaved, but I don't see a point in repaving half of it. Might as well do it all at once and do it right. If the congregation was to sign a letter of intent, what kind of contribution would they be making? And you said it was May 2017 that they would?
The draft that they have provided has that date in it, but that was prior to these discussions about it being just a future financial contribution.
Yeah.
We were drafting it anticipating that they would actually complete the works at a particular point in time. So if we are, if council is suggesting that they would instead like to have a future financial contribution made rather than the actual works completed, there still needs to be that further definition around the dollar value of what those works are.
Mm-hmm.
That there needs to be more investigation and more work done on that.
Okay, I was just wondering, because 2017 is not that far away, so depending on the contribution, it might be difficult for them to come up with that. So I just wanted, but I guess once we know what the contribution would be, then it would be easier.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. So just as Ms. Coates mentioned, that discussion that we had as a preemptive step, not knowing exactly what would happen, we weren't aware of other options that may be available to us. As Mr. Drew said, this to be open and honest and candid, what's building this building are contributed funds. So we're trying to be very, very cautious with how those funds are spent. Labor building it are all volunteers. There's no one paid to do this, right from the professional services down to folks that are on the feet on the street, if you will. So our approach to the contribution, we weren't aware that may be an option, if short of having us required to actually do the work. And so it was in that bit of a vacuum that we weren't aware that there were other options. But again, our preference would be, like what seems to be a common theme, is that it makes more sense to do it all at once at a future time rather than to do a patchwork quilt, especially if this would in some way negatively impact our ability to build, which unfortunately it would. So just it's in that vein that LOI was presented.
Councillor Peak.
Thank you.
Sir. Councillor Peak.
Well, as the discussion is going, I really do feel cash in lieu in support of roadworks to be done in the future is an opportunity here. And we will be doing a roads needs study, and we will get direction from our staff for the roads that most need it. But it could be held for the time when this piece of road would be done. And I certainly appreciate the staff going ahead with the waiving of the requirement for the sidewalk and that it be a rural standard. I agree with both those statements. And the fact that they want to do an 8 by 8 foot road dedication to accommodate the corner truncation, because as future works is done, those make sensible suggestions.
Okay, anybody else? Councillor Barco?
Can we defer this item to staff comes back with those sort of options? What would be the procedure on that?
What are the implications of that?
Council certainly can. The construction has sort of underway on the site now, and I know the congregation is anxious to keep going. This is the last meeting of this year, so the next meeting wouldn't be till January 12th or something. So it would, unless there was a special meeting, it would hold them up until that was resolved.
So is there, I mean, we've come up with, I think, some sort of intent that we would like some contribution to the bringing the road to rural standard from the midline to the edge, or whatever that edge is, at some point down the road, if you'll excuse me, when that road may or may not be done. And so we need a calculation of the cost charges that would be applicable. And I'm suggesting that we don't need that cash now, in terms of, we've talked about cash in lieu. That's suggesting, I think, that the cash comes up now and sits there. I'm suggesting that we look at some sort of time frame that is more suitable for the congregation, given that I think the time frame for any improvements to this road are significantly in the future. So where does that leave us? Can we move ahead and deal with the suggestions of staff here, and then alter the rural standard situation so that that's dealt with at a later date? Councillor Holmes? Actually, the question's for the planner first. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, the cash in lieu provisions, if you like, are where the works are required. We don't want to do them right now because we have a plan to do it in 2 or 3 or 5 years. So we take the cash, hold it until we're planning to do the road. It becomes a bit more nebulous if you have no plan to do the road, because if it's a requirement, then it needs to be done. And to take the cash when you have no plan to redo the road in the foreseeable future is questionable. What I'm hearing here is that there would be a variance issued to waive the works on the condition that a cash payment of some sort might be made. So technically, the works are waived, and there is some cash that comes to council, and they can use it for a sidewalk in some other location or for road improvements in some other location. But we have not explored that option with the congregation at all as yet.
I see. Councillor Holmes.
So why couldn't they proceed with the construction while you work it out?
Well, technically, if the bylaw requires the work, the Local Government Act says the staff are not allowed to issue the building permit unless the work is either completed or we have a suitable security for the construction of it. So we cannot issue a building permit while there's still this requirement outstanding. If the work is waived, subject to some other provision, then we can issue the building permit because the work has been waived, and the condition would be whatever council determines the condition is warranted. One we're recommending is the corner truncation to remove the hydrant problem. There may be another condition that relates to a cash payment of some sort.
I would just say that we do know the upset price, so the value of the works is $45,000.
For everything, curb and gutter and the road?
No curb and gutter, just for the road works, $45,000.
But if we were to waive that and only look at bringing the asphalt to a rural standard, we don't have a figure for that, too.
That's 45,000.
Including, you said it included the curb and gutter, then?
No,
That's-
no curb and gutter.
Sounded like you said it
40,
included.
no.
Sir?
Mr. Mayor, sorry, thank you. Just in that regard, I understand that those estimates were put forward. We've been trying to do a bit of due diligence as well, and the numbers that we've received from a local contractor, plus the work that we can't physically do ourselves, we would contract out. But we're approximately half that value at this point.
So that would be an upset value. My comments before that, we haven't had the opportunity, or we haven't taken the opportunity to meet with you on site and have the drawings and do that investigation, could certainly result in a lower number.
Because for us, Ms. Goes, that would be significantly important for us. Because again, we respect the staff's estimate on that, but we're going to use as much as of our volunteer labor to do as much of that as we can. We understand the district wouldn't do it that way, would pay a contractor from start to finish, but under our regime, we use as many volunteers who offer their services as possible, simply to keep those contributed fund expenditure down as low as we can.
So I think that's a point for council to consider then, is whether you'd be willing to contemplate a reduction in the cash contribution, because it doesn't fit their building model of having donated works, donated labor, donated in-kind services.
Councillor Holmes?
There's too many questions here. There must be a way where they can proceed with building, and that it can be deferred, and to work out this road stuff.
There's a way that could be done if we trust that we can work something out that council will be happy with, but the only way to issue a building permit for this construction is if they either bond for the full cost of the work or we waive it. There's no other way to issue a building permit under the law.
Okay, so that's waiving any of the works, including curb and gutter and improvement to the surface.
Well, if you partially waived it, they would have to bond for whatever you didn't waive.
I see, okay.
So if, for instance, you took the option of waiving the curb and gutter and sidewalk, but still wanted the road construction, then they would have to either construct it before we issued the permit or bond for $45,000, and then we would issue it.
So, if I might still interject, one of the options would be to waive that roadworks, but proceed with the truncation for the actual aspect of the fire hydrant area.
That's correct.
Which seems to be a very logical thing that should be done. So the balance, that's where I would see that as a reasonable approach to things, given comments by this gentleman a few minutes ago. I just simply can't see a guy who's ripping up the asphalt deciding he's going to lift those rakes immediately before the new asphalt and then let them down again, and et cetera, allowing the piece of asphalt to remain intact and then hopefully do the whole subworks on the road and bring the asphalt up to grade, et cetera, without touching that new piece of asphalt that's already had money in it. So I see one of the options is to go ahead with the truncation to allow the fire hydrant situation to be resolved, and then waiving everything else. Sir?
I just might mention that if it is any help, the letter of intent still needs to be fleshed out in some detail. If that's the direction that council wants to proceed, that might give staff time to figure out how much road they want eventually to do, what the costing on all that is, and then to prorate it according to road frontage or however that gets done. And then you'll be able to determine what that funding that would be built into that letter of intent would be for the congregation. And that would be something that you could work out that way. But it's nebulous, as Ian mentioned. It's pretty nebulous right now, and I think we would appreciate working with council, with the district, to resolve this and help out with road reconstruction when that becomes feasible. And in the meantime, we would really appreciate having all the aspects of the application for variance agreed to. Thank you.
So, council, any suggestions, Councillor Holmes?
Well, I'm inclined to suggest we defer to staff to work out the direction that we've been talking about, and the gentleman there has been talking about, and flesh out the letter of intent and see what we can come up with. And it's too bad that a building permit can't be issued until that time. But I think it's better to make the right decision rather than a decision just.
So that essentially puts a stop to any works at all until we get a building permit moving forward, correct?
It could be expedient. I don't mind meeting later in the week or something if we have to.
So, anybody want to put a motion forward, please? Councillor Holmes?
I move that we defer the recommendation 11.2 to staff, pending further discussions with the proponents, and to bring their new recommendation back to council. Something like that.
Do we want to specify a date? Mr. Planner, what would you suggest with respect to how we might do this, given how close things are getting?
I suspect that we could probably have some discussions with the developer over the next day or two if they're still around. I'm going to be away on holidays, but Alex in our office can certainly conclude those negotiations and have a position for council fairly shortly if there's an appetite to meet again before the new year.
Council?
I feel comfortable with that, and I don't have any problem with a special meeting. How long is the notification for a special meeting?
24 hours.
So that's not difficult.
So I think we've, pardon me? Oh, Richard, sorry.
I second Councillor Holmes' motion.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you already did? Sorry.
I didn't catch it, so we did it anyway. Okay, so I think that resolution satisfies staff in terms of the intent of the conversation that we've had to date, that we're, as far as I can see, suggesting that some sort of agreement for cash in lieu timing as well as cash in lieu with respect to this project, and that waiving the sidewalk or doing the sidewalk curb stuff and doing the truncation is going to be part of that discussion.
I suspect what we'll be coming back with is a recommendation to waive the entire work subject to an 8 meter by 8 meter corner truncation and a cash contribution of some amount that we'll sort out in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Okay, council, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. So not an easy discussion. Okay, we're moving forward now to 11.3. Are we? We're in good shape? Okay, so we're moving ahead to 11.3. I'd like to thank the congregation for their patience in our discussions, and thank you for your contributions. For practical comments, so appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, we're on 11.3, non-farm use application 18014 Garnet Valley Road. Mr. Planner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This application is for a property at 18014 Garnet Valley Road. The property is in the ALR, and the application is for a non-farm use for commercial weddings. And the subject property is located on the west side of Garnet Valley Road, approximately 1 kilometer north of the intersection of Garnet Valley and Jones Flat. The property wishes to conduct commercial weddings on this site, and as council is well aware, with the discussions over the minister's new bylaw, commercial weddings are not permitted in the agricultural land reserve. So the application is for a non-farm use to allow this commercial wedding business. The intent is to build future hay barns shown at the upper left of the screen that would serve as a hay barn in the winter months and a wedding facility in the summer months. Parking is intended to be on the paved area already on the site, and they're proposing that most of the guests would be shuttled out to the site through bus or limousine from some other location. So this application, because it's a land reserve application, must come to council first. And if council supports the application, that will then be forwarded to the Agricultural Land Commission for their deliberations, which they may or may not agree with. And if council supports this and the Land Commission also supports it, then it would come back for a temporary use permit to allow this use for a period up to 3 years as an agritourism use, because the zoning bylaw currently does not allow for commercial weddings in our agricultural zones. And once the temporary use permit comes back, then there's an opportunity to talk about conditions, hours, numbers of events per week or per month or per year, et cetera, et cetera. So this first step in the process is the application to the Land Commission for a non-farm use to allow commercial weddings on this property. And this has been to our Agricultural Advisory Committee, who both support commercial weddings in the ALR, as they commented on the minister's proposed bylaw, and they supported this application as well.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the planner, please, from council. Councillor Peak.
So we will have if we recommend this to the ALC, then it comes back to us and we will have a chance to delve into all the details and the conditions that it could operate or may operate under. And I mean, we could ask all those questions now, but it doesn't seem terribly pertinent if what we're doing is to look to recommend it to go to the ALC.
That is correct. The ALC may or may not agree with the application at the outset. Should they agree and council agree, then it would come back for details at the time of the temporary use permit.
Any other comments, questions? Councillor Traynor?
I guess there's just one concern. If we were to do construction along Garnet Valley, would that affect this at all?
I am sure that it probably would.
Yeah.
I suspect the construction, when it happens, will be affecting everybody along that road for a period of time, for sure.
Okay.
Councillor Holmes, did you have?
I think that this would fall under agritourism in a way, and I think that's something I fully support. It gives a good boost to agriculture and the culture of agriculture in this community, and also if you're going to get married, you may as well do it in a barn. So.
I think there's also a sort of a cultural aspect to it too that adds flavor for the community and helps the farming operation as well as providing an interesting venue. Councillor Barkle and Councillor Peak, is that correct? Councillor Peak?
Okay, I'll move the motion for discussions that the application to conduct a non-farm use activity within the ALR on Lot 4, District Lot 480, ODYD Plan 2509, located at 18014 Garnet Valley Road, be supported and forwarded to the Agricultural Land Commission.
No, second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
There's objection out there.
Sorry.
That's my co-applicant.
She's out of order. Sorry. Councillor Peak?
I certainly think that weddings belong in the agricultural tourism base. I think this is an opportunity. The fact that we'll be working on this road will enhance the entranceway to any bed and breakfast or business that may want to enlarge or locate itself in the Garnet Valley area. The Trail of the Okanagan Committee is working towards the Fur Brigade Trail, as as Councillor Barkwell and myself attended at Beachland and furthering those discussions. I think those are just good opportunities for tourism in general. As an aside, the old Peak Farm that in Ontario, the beautiful barn that was on it was moved to the fairgrounds, and it has weddings in it now. It's a great place. And my former sister-in-law's daughter was married in that barn, and it was a great time.
Okay, further comment? All in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried and opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, we're on to 11.4, I guess.
Correct, the Dale Avenue
Dale
subdivision.
Avenue. We should just defer this one, should we? No, it's okay.
Run this
Gotta-
far.
Gotta keep you awake there, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This application is for disposition of the Johnson Street construction. As you will remember, when this property was zoned, there was an agreement to have Johnson Street constructed from the intersection with Nixon Road down to the intersection of Woods Avenue on the north side of Troll Creek Elementary School. At the time of zoning, and a cash contribution representing the construction of that street was made to the district in the amount of $300,000. A more common disposition is to register a covenant on the property that says it can't be subdivided until that work is done. But because of the particulars of the site at the time, there was 8 people on title that would have had to have agreed with that, and it was too difficult, so the proponent simply gave a cash contribution to guarantee that work. Once the property changed hands and they were had possession of it, they then registered that exact covenant, suggesting that the property can't be subdivided until, or building permits issued until the road work was done. And we refunded their $300,000 because we now had the guarantee of the covenant. Now the project is ready to register. The road work has not been done and cannot be completed this year due to weather. So the proponents would like to guarantee again the cost of construction with cash and have council waive or agree to not enforce the terms of the covenant that suggest that the property can't be subdivided or building permits cannot be issued until the road work is done. And if council were to agree with that position, they would submit the cash, 125% of the actual cost of construction to guarantee the work. And then the approving officer could sign the subdivision plan and the building inspector could issue building permits until such time as the road got constructed, which is, I believe, in the agreement no later than June 1st. And we would have all the money required to do the work if that became necessary.
Thank you. Questions of the planner, please. Councillor Peak.
So the work would then be completed next year prior to June?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councillor Trainer.
Sorry, are you just talking about the paving of Johnson Street?
We're talking about the full sidewalks, both sides, and paving, complete
Okay.
construction.
Okay.
Okay.
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, so right now half of the road is not paved, it's just dirt. Is there a way for us to just monitor that over the next couple months until it gets done over the winter, to make sure that there's some kind of surface on it?
That is correct. The developers also submitted a letter guaranteeing that they will maintain that road
Okay.
surface until such time as it's finished.
Okay, because I was just thinking about if it snows or anything and then there's big potholes after, if there's just a way to keep it to some kind of standard until it's paved, that would be good.
Yes, and that would be the developer's committed to do that.
Okay.
And we would be advising him if any work needed to be done.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anything else, Councillor Peak?
Are there further questions? I'll read the motion.
Okay, go ahead, bring it forward.
That the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to execute the agreement attached as Schedule B of the report dated December 14th, 2015 from the Director of Development Services regarding the 6003 Dale Avenue subdivision, accepting $120,000 security, guaranteeing the construction of Johnson Street, and waiving the requirement for this work to be constructed prior to the subdivision approval or building permit issuance.
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, thank you. Mr. Planner?
Just a point of order, I didn't hear the reading of the motion exactly, but it should be Schedule C in point 2, as opposed to
Okay.
Schedule
So
B
we-
that's written in the report.
So
The
we have a
schedule got
typo there,
adjusted there in the printed version.
so it should be Schedule C.
Yes, so the actual agreement is Schedule C of the report that you're looking at.
So I'll make that correction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that all right? Is this B
Oh.
in here? What does it say there?
B. Schedule A is the map, Schedule B is the agreement
I'm looking at,
on the revised report.
This is revised
Oh,
report?
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I stand corrected, you are correct, and I'm not.
Oh.
I was looking at
Well,
the
heaven forbid that
original.
should happen too often.
Duly noted, we'll all have a drink on Ian at some point over the holiday.
Let it stand.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, please. Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, none opposed. Thank you very much. So we're moving ahead to 11.5, Regional Growth Strategy Review.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Regional Growth Strategy was adopted in 2010, 5 years ago, and the legislation requires that it be reviewed every 5 years. The regional district has hired a consultant to liaise with the RDOS staff and with member municipalities, have a look at the document to see if there's any glaring errors or issues that should be reviewed. The consultant has come up with a review that suggests there's some language in there that is confusing, could be clear, other policies that don't reflect the goal that they're in, and they should be in other sections. So what is being proposed, and the reason this is coming before council is there is an RDOS meeting, I believe December the 17th, where this will be coming forward. So the RDOS has asked staff to brief their respective councils on this issue, so they'll have some understanding when they get to the meeting. So the regional growth strategy has been circulated. It's the document on the left. It's a comprehensive document that lays out how the development within the region is supposed to dovetail together. And the document on the right is the first opportunity to review that. And the only review that they're talking about at the moment is for clarity of the document. No change in content, just basically going through and making sure that what the intent was is clearly laid out. That can be done under what's called a minor revision. Anything more major that talks about change of content or change of policy or substantive adjustment triggers the process that was undergone the first time, where the entire document has to go through multiple processes. There's a whole section in the Local Government Act that speaks to that. That can definitely be done. The first time the RGS was drafted, it took 6 years of debate back and forth between member municipalities to get agreement. This document is to simply look at that, clear it up, and continue on with no substantive changes at this point.
Thank you. Yeah, I was, as the RDOS rep, Councillor Boot and I attended, and this discussion, initial discussion that led to what you see in front of you was carried out. And we had the discussion around, do we do a full-blown review, or do we do a review that's looking at some minor adjustments in what was, accomplished before. And when I was on council between 2005 and 2008 was when the RGS was initiated, and I was actually on the committee at that time. And it was a strenuous and long-term discussion that took an awful lot of input from everybody, staff and the various communities and electoral areas. So it was seen fit at this point to be looking at a review of the document for clarification and some minor updates and so on. And that's what they, would like to do this time. Another period of time might pass where they want to do a more comprehensive process, but it wasn't seen to be necessary, and it was such a long, process initially, they couldn't see redoing that for the minor adjustments that might be required at this time. So any questions of myself or our staff, please, on that issue? Anything?
Obviously, I haven't had time to go through it, but I will be doing
You haven't
that.
read the whole thing?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Read about the owls before.
Councillor Barkle.
Yeah, I went through it. It's not exactly a gripping document. some of the changes, almost the changes look like pretty good. Or suggestions where there could be improvements. Some of them I didn't quite understand, but I suppose there'll be some group that goes through it and hammers it out, and yeah, it's a document that maybe we refer to now and then.
Yeah, that document, if I stand to be corrected by our planner, but essentially it guides a lot of the things we do in the community, sort of around, for example, encouraging densification for one. I believe that's in there, and certain growth patterns and so on. Is that correct?
That is correct. The regional growth strategy has more effect on rural areas. They must comply with it, similar to how we must comply with our official community plan. For municipalities, they simply have to have a context statement in their OCP, which we have, that says how we're going to bring our OCP into compliance with the regional growth strategy, and then we must comply with our OCP. So it doesn't have as much force and effect on us, but we do review it when we're making significant adjustments or changes.
I think it does provide guidance for the suggestions for the whole region.
Yes.
And as a member municipality, along with electoral areas, we're part of that area, and any decisions we make, whether it's regarding RGS or other things, we like to make sure we're in concert as best we can, unless there's a really egregious differences that we want to object to. And of course, we always at the director table or the board table will try and be part of that argument to discuss and bring forward Summerland's point of view on things. So we have that room for input on some of these potential changes as well. So did we have a mover there? No? Councillor Peak, thank you.
I'll do the last one.
Okay. Councillor Holmes moving, and Councillor Peak seconder.
I move that the South Okanagan Regional Growth Strategy Preliminary Review document be received for information.
Thank you. We have a seconder, Councillor Peak. Councillor Peak, got it. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion is carried and opposed. Thank you very much. Moving ahead to staff and other reports, 12.1, short-term borrowing for the local sanitary service. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So tonight before council is a request for a resolution that would allow a short-term borrowing for the cost of the project to extend the sanitary sewer area, the Juniper, Miltimore, Willow, Tate local service area. The construction of those works is complete, but we have not yet received the final invoicing for the project. At this point, the district would like to have the authorization to go forward with a short-term borrowing once those final costs are known, and then participate in the long-term borrowing in the fall issue of the Municipal Finance Authority. The Municipal Finance Authority does 2 borrowing issues each year, one in the spring and one in the fall. And there's a significant lead time that's required for the province to do their work, as well as for the regional district to get their bylaws in place. So at this point in time, we aren't able to participate in the spring issue. There isn't enough time, and we don't know how much money we need to borrow yet. So the short-term financing gives the district the funds that we require, and then we will convert that to a long-term borrowing in the fall.
Questions? Councillor Barkle.
Do all of the people getting hooked up on this system, are they all putting it on the equal payment plan, or is we going to get some lump sum cash payments?
We will, and we haven't yet got that information because, of course, we haven't been able to provide the property owners with the full costs yet for them to make that decision, and that will impact the amount of the long-term borrowing.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, would some like to bring that motion forward, please? Go ahead.
I move that short-term borrowing application for a maximum of $700,000 be submitted to the Municipal Finance Authority under Section 175 of the Community Charter, with a specified term not to exceed 5 years, with no extension or terms of renewal, to secure interim short-term borrowing for funding the cost to establish the local sanitary sewer service area, Juniper, Miltimore, Willow, and Tate, be approved.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Traynor. Thank you. Further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll do 12.2, then we'll have a quick break.
Can we have a quick break first?
Okay, we can have a quick break first. Yes, that's good.
Yeah,
Yep.
scratch.
We'll move on to 12.2. So, CAO?
Katie, are you speaking, sorry, the Deputy Corporate Officer, are you speaking to this item, or shall we turn it over to Councillor
I
Holmes?
believe Councillor Holmes was wanting to speak to this matter.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, as we've all heard in the news, what's happening in Syria is the biggest refugee crisis from a single conflict in a generation. Not since Vietnam have we seen anything like it. About 11 million people have been displaced. That's half the country's population. And the number will probably only rise as the war in Syria continues. Currently, there are 4 million UN registered refugees outside the borders of Syria. That's in Lebanon, Jordan, and Turkey. They're residing in camps run by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Many other Syrians have made their way to Europe to seek asylum. Sweden, which is a country of 10 million people, have taken in 200,000 Syrians. They say they can't take any more. Germany has taken 1 million, 200,000 in the month of November alone. So it's a huge number. Canada, between January 2014 and November this year, have taken in just over 3,000 refugees. Most of those have been privately sponsored, such as a family that came here to Summerland. So the new government's plan is to take in 25,000 refugees. That's in addition to those 3,000 that have already come. Of those 25,000, up to 2,500 are expected to come to BC. The provincial government says BC has the capacity to take up to 3,500. I'll just briefly explain the process of how a refugee comes to Canada. Those ones that come to Canada are currently residing in the United Nations camps around the borders of Syria. The United Nations screens every refugee for potential security risk, and then they're screened again by a Canadian visa officer. There's currently 500 Canadian officials in the UN camps interviewing the refugees. Then the government brings them to Canada either as what's known as a government-assisted refugee or a privately sponsored refugee. For government-assisted refugees, no funds are needed to be raised locally. The federal government pays income support for up to a year. The privately sponsored refugees, they're sponsored by either church groups, community associations, extended family, or groups of 5 or more individuals. Depending on who's sponsoring, it could be a blended model where the federal government provides half the funds and the other half of support for a year, where the other half is provided by the federal government. The government-sponsored refugees tend to be the more vulnerable people, like single mothers with kids, orphans, that sort of thing, where the privately sponsored ones are mainly families or people with connections already to Canada. The initial emphasis of the 25,000 who are coming in are on privately sponsored refugees. So the family that came to Summerland earlier, you may have heard in the news that there's families in Oliver has arrived already, a number in Kelowna, and Osoyoos are taking them. And these are different church groups in these communities who have sponsored these refugees to come here. But it's recognized the capacity isn't there for all the refugees, all the 25,000 that they want to bring to Canada. They can't all be privately sponsored. So the government is still trying to figure out how the government-sponsored refugees how that whole program is going to work. The first ones destined for BC will all be going to the Lower Mainland. These are the government-sponsored ones. But there's a recognition that they can't all settle in Vancouver. It's the most expensive housing market in the country. So there's a target to reallocate 20%, at least 20% of them outside the Lower Mainland. It's in the opinion of many people, including myself, that small communities can provide a better option for refugees. We tend to be more welcoming. We can provide better support because we're small and friendly. And refugees can more easily integrate in the community and society in general. It's the view of the Immigration Minister, John McCollum, that municipalities will play an essential role in resettling and integrating refugees, though it's not clear exactly what he means by that. Now, it's not clear what federal government's expectations are of municipalities. It seems that it's up to councils to express whether they're interested or not. Many councils around the country have been passing motions saying that they want to welcome refugees to their community. Last week, I held a public meeting, and it was an information session on the humanitarian crisis in Syria. We had about 85 people show up. We had a great discussion on how Summerland as a community can best respond. And there was a groundswell of support to take action. There was also many people saying that they were looking for the municipality to partner in the process and to provide leadership. So by the end of the night, we had more than 25 people signed up to be an active member of a community sponsorship committee, and another 25 signed up to help out where they can. So since then, we've a Summerland Refugee Sponsorship Group has been set up. We've held our first meetings. We have another one tomorrow. The group's purpose is to coordinate the community's response to the crisis. It'll become a private sponsor. We want to bring another family to Summerland. The fundraising for that should start soon. Just doing the paperwork. We'll also be we'll be the community contact for any of the government-assisted refugees that we might be able to attract here. We're working with the South Okanagan Immigrant and Community Services, known by the acronym SOICS, to ensure regional coordination, because there's lots of things happening all around the South Okanagan that we all need to help each other. And I met with the Council of Church Ministers, the local, they have their own meetings, so I've met with them. I've met with representatives of the United Church and the Catholic community who've either brought in or are bringing in refugees as private sponsors to ensure local coordination. So the group is seeking some basic assistance from the municipality. Our main need right now is meeting space. We don't want to have to pay just to have our meetings. And we might need some administrative help, like photocopying and whatnot. There's an impressive set of people with some incredible skill sets in the group, and so we won't require much in the way of municipal staff time. And we're not asking for the municipality to provide any direct financial contribution. The motion that I'm putting forward is more, it's an important statement to say that refugees are welcome in Summerland, and that the most important thing here is our leadership. So with that, should I move?
Yes.
Whereas Summerland Council wishes to provide a leadership role to assist in the Syrian refugee crisis and to welcome refugees to our community, and whereas members of the community have formed a Summerland Refugee Sponsorship Group to identify resources and coordinate a community response in supporting refugee families who may choose Summerland as their new home, be it resolved that the District of Summerland provide administrative and technical support where able to the Summerland Refugee Sponsorship Group, and further that Councillor Doug Holmes be appointed as council liaison to the Summerland Refugee Sponsorship Group.
Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Peak.
I'm pleased to see this come forward. I certainly have worked in sponsorship and with other refugees in Darfur and elsewhere in other roles in my life. Not always have I felt it to be necessary for it to be a council initiative, but I think in welcoming refugees to our community, as we already have, in regards to those that have been sponsored through the United Church. I think it's an opportunity to do this. I had a couple of questions, and one of them, I believe, Councillor Holmes has answered. I was concerned with the amount of resources that might be needed from our staff, because we're certainly stretched in our own resource capacity. But I'm reassured that it's minimal in terms of the requests that might come forward. So that was one of my questions. And Councillor Holmes, the other one I asked, will this group then be an umbrella organization for the other organizations, which are churches in this case, but maybe elsewise as well? Is it an umbrella organization for those as well?
It can be. One of the members of the steering committee is also a member of the steering committee of the Catholic community that's coming here. So I wouldn't say it as an umbrella group. This is just a community group. So anybody in the community who, a lot of the people involved, they said with the other groups that this is something they want to do, but they're not a member of the United Church. They're not a member of the Catholic Church, and so it's a way of people of any faith or no faith can help, really. So.
Thank you. I discussed this briefly with our CAO before she left for holidays, and I think the resolution as it sits is good, and she's good with the level of support that we're asking for. So I think the district's willing to help, and I think the meeting space aspect can be dealt with. So I certainly would be in favor of this resolution, and I actually would like to commend Councillor Holmes for a strong leadership role in this effort. And day by day, as this sort of tragedy unrolls, it becomes more and more clear how critical it is that communities like ours step forward. And I think there's lots of reasons why small communities can offer a great welcoming hand. We're small, as you mentioned. It's I think under your group there's probably over time reason to believe that the group that's coming to the South Okanagan will have opportunities to meet together and so on, and I think it's going to be a benefit to them, as well as I think it's always a benefit to the community to welcome diversity in our community. So I'm really pleased that we're able to do this, and I'm very pleased that Councillor Holmes has stepped forward like this, so I appreciate that very much. Councillor Barkwell.
I have a question for Councillor Holmes. The group that you're coordinating with, I think I said it was out of Penticton, kind of a long name, South Okanagan Community Services. Yeah. Do they have a charitable tax status? Would people be able to contribute to them and get see it flow to the Summerland group?
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. You really want me to get into this?
Well, I think people would like to know that at least that they're tax deduction.
So, yeah, definitely. It's very important that we're able to offer tax receipts, right? That's so. It's the federal government has a list of what they call sponsorship agreement holders, and there's so many. There's only so many in the country, and so you have to associate yourself with a sponsorship agreement holder, and that's what we're starting to do now. We've been looking at different ones that we can associate it. So actually, and I asked them that, and they never got back to me. So why don't they become one? That would make a lot of people's life easier if they were one themselves. But maybe they don't see that's their role necessarily. They provide support services to all immigrants, not just refugees, right? So English language training, counseling, that sort of thing, right? So it's maybe they don't see it as in their mandate. I can't speak for them.
So I think we need a seconder. Councillor Trent, did you second? Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Peak.
Well, we're talking about welcoming new people into our community. I want to make sure that council and the public is assured that we're interested in looking after the people that are here too, and that as we move forward as a council, that there'll be opportunities to support our own community in various ways. I know, for instance, that low-income housing or rent-geared income is something that's important, And there are other ways that we need to help our own community, and we would be doing that as well.
Thank you. Councillor
Can I
Holmes?
just comment on that? I mean, I've heard that quite a bit, and my response, I've heard quite a bit, why are we, doing this when we have our own people that we should be looking after? And my response is, it's not really a Sophie's choice, we can do both.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a very appropriate comment. Any further comment before we move ahead? Okay, all in favor? Motion, please. Thank you. Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, council. So we move ahead to 12.3. Gradually. Okay, 12.3, paddleboard business at Peach Orchard Beach. Corporate officer.
So hopefully you're looking at the,
CAO.
yeah, sorry. Hopefully you're looking at the revised report that is actually at Peach Orchard Beach. Sorry about that. So it's the same report as the original one, just a different map. There's a longtime resident who's eager to change career paths and needs to have a decision from council before January in order to get the lead time to order the paddle boards for the business. So that's the eagerness and the rush on this. But the idea is to have a bunch of paddle boards for rent down at Peach Orchard Beach to add a little liveliness and activity down there. And as it is all district property, and our parks bylaw doesn't allow the operation of a business on parks without council's permission, and we're seeking that.
Okay, questions of staff. Councillor Trainer, then Councillor Holmes.
I'm just curious, is anybody else renting paddle boards down there right now? In that
Not
area?
now. There was an operation a couple years ago. It was sort of a side project to the owners of the Lakeshore Fitness. And they've since sold that business to a new couple, and that new couple's not doing that. And the paddle boards are now located in Penticton.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so there's no competition really down there for it.
Councillor Holmes.
Can we see on the map where they plan to do that from?
Oh, yes.
I couldn't see on nothing indicating it on the map.
Yeah, it isn't indicated on the new map because because it's such a large area, it wasn't decided exactly where. Probably very close to the washrooms or the structure there. But the manager of Parks and Recreation and I and the entrepreneur were going to walk down there in person and stake out a spot. It would be the same size, just the size of one of those little white portable tents, just to provide some shade. So yeah, somewhere in there just to the north of the blue buildings, very likely. But the manager of Parks is far more aware of that park and the use than I am, so be decided.
Okay. So I guess we can trust the manager of parks that it wouldn't be placed in some place that would interfere with other activities going on there, such as volleyball.
That's correct.
Okay, Councillor Peak.
I just follow up on that because I know that the square itself is rented out quite often. There's birthday parties and family barbecues and whatever, so you wouldn't want to detract from that just to have a business. I think the opportunity for this kind of business is really good. I mean, rentals of equipment and activities. We've often talked that we should have a bike rental somewhere, so I think the opportunity to have a pop-up business and a 3-year contract is a good thing. I did have a question, if there are any complaints about it, how are they handled?
That would be part of the agreement that we'd have with them as well. With the siting, the district would have the ultimate say on whether or not it continues, whether or not there's issues that could be moved, or just give them notice that the contract's terminated if they don't comply.
Okay, everybody happy? Any more further discussion at all? Someone like to bring the motion forward, please? Councillor Trainer.
That the proposed paddleboard business as described in the council report submitted by the Director of Corporate Services dated December 14th, 2015 be permitted to operate on district property at Peach Orchard Beach, and that staff be directed to negotiate a license of occupation at fair market rent for the operation of the business for a term not to exceed 3 years.
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Any further discussion as well? Okay. All in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy.
12.4. RCMP Air Services and Firearms Office occupancy agreements. CAO or corporate officer?
Yeah, I'll take this one. It came to our attention from the RCMP. They've got a new branch, I guess, or a reinvigorated branch that is looking through all of their occupancy agreements and discovered that they've had a couple offices in the new RCMP building for years, but have never had a formal agreement. So although they are RCMP, they're not specific to the RCMP agreement for local services for Summerland. They're more regional things like the air services and the firearms office. So they do require separate occupancy agreements just to make everything above board and official. So no change in the situation, no change in the rental rates, which are quite good in our favor.
Sort of a cleanup of
Putting down on paper what was a handshake
what's
years
actually
ago.
happening. Yeah, thank you. Any questions of staff? Nothing? Councillor Peak?
I'll bring forward the motion.
Sure, thank you.
The council passed the following resolution that the request by the RCMP for an occupancy agreement with the District of Summerland for the Air Services Office in the RCMP detachment building located at 9101 Pineo Court be supported, and that the request by the RCMP for an occupancy agreement with the District of Summerland for the Canadian Firearms Office in the RCMP detachment building located at 9101 Pineo Court be supported, and further that the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to execute all documents related to this matter.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Barkle. Thank you. Any further discussion? We're pretty good. It's just a cleanup. So all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, 12.5, cancellation of December 28, 2015 regular meeting of council. Who's going to do the CAO? Corporate officer. There you go.
So there was an error when the original schedule was made for this year, and I guess it was overlooked that the offices are closed on the 28th. So although council is very welcome to have a meeting, I don't think there'll be anyone here. So we're recommending that it be canceled.
I'm not impressed. We should be having that meeting.
I'll come back. I'll come back.
Let the press move.
As long as the press is here, we'll be.
So it was an oversight in the original
Okay, thank
scheduling
you.
a year ago.
Okay, someone like to bring that forward, please? Councillor Holmes.
I move that the regular meeting of council scheduled for December 28th, 2015 be canceled.
Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, 12.6, Deputy Corporate Officer Appointment. CAO? Oh, okay.
Jeremy again.
Jeremy. Corporate
Number 4.
Officer, please.
So our wonderful Deputy Corporate Officer, Katie Carn, is heading back to Abbotsford. So there may be a period of time of a couple weeks before a replacement is found. And to ensure that we have continuity, it's recommended that the CAO take on the role of Deputy Corporate Officer in case I'm absent.
Okay, thank you. Would like to bring the motion forward, please? Councillor Peak.
That the Chief Administrative Officer be appointed on an interim basis as Deputy Corporate Officer effective December 24th, 2015.
Seconder. Councillor Barkle. All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Any new business, Deputy Corporate Officer?
No, no new business.
Okay, bylaws, 14.1. CAO?
This is just adoption of the development cost charge bylaw amendment. So the ministry has now given us the statutory approval, and the bylaw can now proceed for adoption.
Thank you. Council, questions? No? Okay. Someone like to bring that forward, please? Councillor Holmes?
I move that bylaw number 2015-023, amendment of development cost charges, bylaw number 2000-194, small residential buildings be adopted.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Trainer. Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Councillor reports. Who's going to go first? Councillor Trainer.
Thank you. In late November, I attended the Cultural Task Force meeting on sports and recreation. There was about 30 people there. We had some great discussions about how sports and recreation fit into the culture in Summerland. Myself and Councillor Holmes attended the first Recreation Commission meeting on December 9th, and we got to meet that commission for the first time. So looking forward to working with them in the new year. And there's a business after business Christmas party tomorrow at 5 o'clock at the Summerland Chamber offices. I just wanted to remind everyone of that. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Barkle.
There's a lot of meetings in the last few weeks, so I won't list all of them. Although of note, one meeting I attended concerning the school board closures and such, I questioned the school board on the numbers they were presenting and the savings that could be had at each of the various schools, and asked if they had considered the the deferred amount of capital spending that could be realized in each of the particular schools. It was listed there, and to my surprise, they said that those numbers had not been considered in their numbers that they were presenting on the potential savings for each school. And so I urge them strongly that they have to be considered to make an informed decision, and hopefully they will, because they would also go towards supporting keeping our schools open.
Okay, thank you. Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, with when you have the 3 weeks between council meetings, there's always lots of things happening. So I've been active with the setting up the refugee sponsorship group, as I had reported. Attended the under 2 acres water rates open house, and I was again quite encouraged by, like the previous open house on water rates, encouraged by the interest taken in the community and the feedback, and so I'll be looking forward to that process. The community plan task force community consultations are winding down. I attended the last few community conversations we had. That's sports and rec, downtown revitalization, and business, and I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for coming out to most of those. It was good to see, and I think the people contributing, making contributions, were happy to see the council interest, and I've heard a lot of remarks about from people saying that they appreciate the interest that all of council's taking in this process. People can still make written or video submissions up until January 11th. So I encourage people to do that if they have something that they really want the task force to know. We have a vast amount of community input. It's an incredible amount, and the task force is taking a little break over Christmas, and in the new year we're going to start in the task of analyzing and collating that data and the community input before preparing our reports. I also was quite involved and participated in the public consultation process on the possible school closures or reconfigure. I met the Summerland parents meeting and the public meeting at Giant's Head, as well as as I'm a parent with students. The PAC at SMS also held a meeting with the school trustees, and I attended that. And you know, that same week we had the refugee meeting and the parents meeting and the school closure meeting, and those two events, it really both times it was the community was coming together and over a common cause, and it's just great to see that when the community comes together like that in those two meetings. I attended the skate park meeting, and I thought that was excellent too. The mayor described it in his report. It was fantastic to see these kids so engaged and so involved, and never mind. I mean, they're going to get a skateboard that they wanted, with the items that they chose. But I also thought it was a great introduction to civic participation for our youth, and so that was quite nice to see too. The Recreation Commission meeting that I attended, I thought it was a very productive first meeting. That this group hasn't met for a couple of years, and it's happy to see a willingness amongst most of the group that they want to become a more proactive committee. And I think council, moving forward, council will need some good advice on recreation matters as we look to developing our trail system and our rec master plan and that sort of thing. And speaking of the trail system, I'd like to thank Aaron Trainer for dragging Councillor Barkwell and I on a hike around Conkle Mountain a week or so ago. And basically, I think she was lobbying us to show us the potential of our trail system. So she did a good job on that. I was convinced. And finally, I'd just like to say, on Thursday night, I attended the annual SSS Live at Center Stage. That's the annual high school grades 11 and 12 drama classes put on some comedy sketches that left me in stitches for most of the night, and it continued the great tradition of theater that we have here in Summerland. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Very much so. Were you able to keep up to Councillor Trainer at all?
No.
No, I didn't.
She assured me if I went out with her that she'd take it the pace that I could set. As I wasn't able to go on that particular walk.
Okay, Councillor Pete.
Thank you. Like Doug, I'm a representative on the Cultural Task Force Planning Committee, and I've attended those meetings in the last few weeks as well. I'd like to express my thanks to the community for their involvement and continued enthusiasm in those meetings. We have a large task ahead of us as we go into the dissection and writing of this particular report, and I believe there'll be one more workshop because I think we're going to work at having one that will include the other businesses like the wineries after the Christmas season, when they will have more time to attend a workshop. As with other councillors, I've attended the school board discussions, the public meetings, and I want to commend the community and the PAC committee on having their own discussion. I thought that was a very valuable initiative, and certainly the following meeting at Giant's Head was extremely well attended and well articulated by folks on both sides. I don't envy the school board's decision in this particular venue, and I'll be interested in seeing as the discussions go forward, and I will be following that process as well. I'm pleased that our public consultation with the public regarding the irrigator water rates and the domestic water connections have been very well attended. They're certainly well received by the community, and the opportunity for public input is very important. So I'm pleased that staff have worked those forward and that they have been well represented by the public attending. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So it's an opportunity now for the public to raise anything that may or may not have been on the agenda.
Come on, family wants anything?
It's all been said. It's all been said? You're not holding back, are you?
I'm tweeting.
You're tweeting. Ah, okay. Okay, now, the media, any questions?
I have some questions, please. And it's probably directed towards Councillor Holmes, but through
Yeah,
you.
go ahead, yeah.
And that is where it says that, and the resolution was passed, that council wishes to provide a leadership role. It seems to me that the sponsorship group is the one that's doing the leading here. And, I mean, how would you see council actually being the leader?
Well, just by expressing support for the group and helping the group, and that's assistance right there. If council didn't want to provide that assistance or help, then I guess it wouldn't be showing any leadership, would it?
Well, that was, I mean, to me, which is great, but I mean, it was more of an assistance role than a leadership role. Okay, now, the next question is, you had mentioned about the type of support, that it would be meeting space and photocopying and this sort of thing. And yet, in the resolution, it talks about administrative and technical support. So what else might be involved?
Don't know, we're just starting down this road.
Okay,
that's,
Well, I can appreciate
Yeah.
that, the broad thing. And the other one perhaps is, question is more for the mayor, and that is, are there other community groups currently or in the past who have received similar support from council and also and/or had a council liaison?
I think there's been support by council for various initiatives over time, but I think this is one of the few times that I can think of where there's been specific, support for a major, humanitarian issue like this. That's not to say that I am not remembering something, but, I've been fairly involved over the last decade, and I don't recall anything this specific. And I think, I think council should be exceptionally proud that Councillor Holmes has taken such a leadership role in fostering this initiative. So I think, although he's acting on his own, he certainly brought this to council, and we're very pleased to assist where we can. Do you have something to add to that?
I think an example of where it's happening is the Healthy Living Initiative, which I think, is it Councillor Traynor, is the council liaison on that.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Chamber of Commerce, for that matter, we have a council liaison on that.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's other examples, but I think too, this particular initiative, as well as the healthy living thing issue, is something that, council was expressing their desire to move in that general direction in terms of cultural activities, healthy living, and so on, as part of one of our moves forward with the strat plan of last year.
Thank you.
Anything else? John, any comments or questions?
Not at this point.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, I'd like to have a motion for adjournment, please. Councillor Barkle, seconder. Councillor Peak, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the public and staff. Very much. Putting us up to this one.
Merry Christmas.